championship so close you can taste it.
Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100.
Side by side. And your new champion, Christian Rasmussen. Joining me down here now in the tower as we get set to fire things up. We've got 23 racers getting ready to get things rolling. Tracy Haas is joining me here from the Anderson Company. He's one of our guests here this weekend. Tracy, fire him up.
How you doing? I'd like to say thank you to Anderson Interiors and Corporate Woodworking for an amazing day at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Good luck to all of our racers. And gentlemen, start your engines.
There it is, folks. The call to fire, engines starting. Tracy Haas joining us. Thank you, Tracy. That was awesome. And indeed, drivers firing things up down here on pit lane. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be some tremendous racing once again. 23 drivers set to get going here. The stretch run. 3 more races here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. And then, of course, Mid-Ohio in about a month's time, the finale for the series. Let's go down trackside as we get set to go now with the drivers here in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship. So Sooner Murthy ready to pull off here right now as everybody is underway and ready to go. Kiko Porto looking to roll as well. Clouds getting a little darker here trackside. And drivers finally pulling off the racetrack and getting ready to go. Parker Thompson joining me back here in the Cooper Tire Broadcast Center. We'll get things rolling with Parker.
Good to be here, Rob.
Good to have you here, bud. So obviously a little different approach than we normally do here on the Road to Indy TV program, simply with the fact that we're not here with IndyCar this weekend. Gives you and I a chance to kind of work here from the booth together. I don't have to run to some booth somewhere to get things going. I wasn't down on pit lane. So like we did at one of our races at Barber Motorsports Park earlier this year, you and I in the booth calling the race.
Yeah, you're not going to get your steps in. That's too bad.
This is true. Where am I at right now? I'll have to have a look here. No way I'm getting 10,000. We'll see what happens all told. I'll tell you, this is the interesting part of what you're seeing right now, folks. Coming up over top out of turn number 2, down to turn number 3. They'll take the right combination. Is it as tricky as I expect, that part of the racetrack?
It is super tricky. I'll give you a little insight, though, Rob. They actually removed the candy cane curbing in turn 3A. So that's
really?
actually where that camera was shot at right there. They just put a concrete patch down. So you can almost go in the grass now. You don't have to hop the curb.
For the initial turn in.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
It's made it a little easier on the drivers, I think.
Again, working their way around the track. This is up over top of the hump there into turn number 4. The right hand leads down into the left hand turn number 5. We'll see that momentarily. Drivers, of course, trying to get some heat built into these Cooper tires. Out of turn number 5, left-hander at the bottom of the hill, coming back over to the 6-7 combination. It seems to me, Parker, like turn 6, a little more open than turn number 7.
Definitely more open. Turn 6, man, it's close to flat in an Indy Pro 2000
really?
car. With the reduced revs this year, it is close. And in a USF 2000 car, I'm sure it's just as close. I mean, obviously a little less downforce, a little less horsepower. But these guys getting their tires warmed up, getting ready here for race 1. It's going to be interesting with this weather. You know, you look at outside our booth here, I don't know. I think we're going to see a little rain pop in.
I wonder, and you brought that up before, it's getting darker. Like I said, I looked at the radar, and it didn't seem like it was going to hit us, maybe go around us here in Millville, but, man, you just never know. Drivers coming into position right now. We'll form them up. We're going to go racing here for the first of 3 events. The Cooper Tires USF 2000 Grand Prix at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Yuvan Sooner Murthy on the pole. Kiko Porter, your point leader on the outside. Turn 1 and 2 are going to be crucial here right now. Drivers thinking about championship. Other drivers thinking about putting one up in the win column. Out of turn number 11 and 12, they'll look to Aaron Likens, the official starter and flagman of the Road to Indy, to find out who's going to punch off. They'll work their way out onto the front straightaway now. Good shot of them coming across, start, finish here momentarily. Who's it going to be as they get ready to go racing? Good start for Sooner Murthy, and he's running. Green, green, green. And Sooner Murthy with a great start, as does Christian Brooks to the inside. Porto. Kiko Porto going to fall back a little bit. Brooks is going to go to second, but Porto's around the outside.
Whoa.
Look at that, Parker. Porto around the outside to lead. Kiko Porto leads on the outside of turn 1 through turn number 2. Talk about running the outside. Parker, let's finish this lap, and then we'll come to you and talk about just what it took to go around the outside there, as I think Juven Sundermurthy might have checked up a little bit trying to get set. There's Porto into turn number 4 as your leader. Second place is Sundermurthy. Third is Christian Brooks. Opening lap still kind of settling in. Looks like D'Orlando slotting into potentially P number 5. But what happened in turn number 1 there, it just seemed to me, it was like correct that Sundermurthy just didn't roll the corner speed.
Well, Juven got such a good start, and I'm surprised actually he didn't move over to the racing line. He crossed the start-finish with more than a car ahead, but he stayed down low. Kiko, side drafted up to him and then rolled more speed.
Can you get side drafted these cars?
You definitely can.
Okay.
That's a huge deal.
And was Sundermurthy just thinking, if I go to the outside of the racetrack, am I opening the door for Christian Brooks?
Well, he must have been protecting a little bit, but I think he was just, for the most part, saying, I've got the corner locked. I don't think anyone's going to get there. And he obviously didn't put it in deep enough, and ka-chow.
Yeah, that's it, right? And here they are again, coming out of turn number 10, 11, and 12. So again, USF 2000 underway. And a tremendous run, as we said there, for Kiko Porto to get the lead. Looked to me like he was going to fall back to third, maybe even fourth. I almost would have said potentially further back. Can't believe that he was actually able to go all the way around the outside and make that stick. An impressive run for Kiko Porto, especially when you think, if you're a D-Force fan and you're sitting at the sidelines watching him go back like that, and we're in damage control. And then he comes out of turn number 2 with the lead.
Well, and then not only that, he's in the lead of the race. He can probably see in his mirrors D'Orlando's back in 5th, and he's going, well, this is perfect. I've got plenty of points on the table now. Let's just drive off into the sunset here. Really, as we talked about pre-race, Rob, this place really tough to pass. You've been doing a good job staying with them, but these tires are going to get past that 2 or 3 laps. They're going to dig really hard, and all he's got to do is keep it on the black stuff.
So obviously, and in terms of what Parker's giving you some insight, this looks really, really good here right now for Kiko Porto. We haven't really seen many passes for the lead even through last year's event. We'll get a better feel for what we're going to get on the track here this weekend with this particular weather conditions. But I'll say this, Juven Sundermurthy not that far back, really just about a car length. But that's the one thing. Let's talk about this, Parker, and we can chat about this all day long, to be honest, both series. You get that big run, and you got to worry about the aero wash. We'll watch them come down into turn number 1 here right now. And again, a little bit of a wiggle on the brake there for Kiko Porto. But I'll tell you, Sundermurthy pushing hard. But what happens every time you get into these sweepers, these fast sweepers, and you lose that air off the front wing?
Well, and you'll see the first few laps here, it won't be that much of a problem. But as the front tires of Juven start to wear down, right? He's losing that front aero, so he's really abusing the front tires. And NGMP is already tough on the front tires regardless. It's tough on any rubber here. It's going to be a tough one for him. But he's right there on the gearbox. And I tell you what, it's better now than ever. I would say he's got another probably 2-lap window to get this job done, force Kiko into a mistake.
And that's what you said, right? The minute you keep pushing, you lose that aero, you're really having to get more wheel into it, more turning input. As you do that, the tires are pushing. You got the understeer. It's really punishing those tires. And this track, as we had said, the asphalt surface here, really rough on these Cooper tires. You got to get the job done early. Settling in right now, I'd love to bring you live timing, but it's just simply not coming up on the laptop right now, so I can't give you the full field rundown. But we do have a good battle up front between these 2 leaders, as again, Kiko Porto out front, Sundermurthy in second. And to be honest, Sundermurthy is looking potentially to close up on Michael D'Orlando in points a little bit for second, but Kiko out front here as your point leader. 5 races to go. He's leading the first of that stretch run. Man, if he gets a win here, like we said, enough points to make it a full race distance or full race points ahead, as we both said in the pre-race, a full race points, right?
Yeah.
There's an opportunity here for Kiko Porto in a big way.
Well, and Rob, I'm sure we've talked about this in the past, but if you take a month off of racing, the thing I'm always scared about as a race car driver is you lose that momentum, you lose that groove. So Kiko Porto, dominant this year in the summer swing. Now we're coming to the end of the championship. He's had a month off. He went back home. I always get scared that a driver comes back and doesn't have that same hungry mentality. We've seen that happen in the past. But leading a race here, I would say he's the same Kiko that was in the summer.
Yeah, you wonder whether or not, or what they did during that break. You know, a lot of guys I know drove other cars, a lot of guys jumping behind the wheel of some carts, shifter carts, whatever it may be, to keep themselves strong. Somebody like Porto, I think, when you're hungry and you see what's potentially up for grabs there, if you continue to stay in the gym and you're working hard, you're pushing that weight and trying to get those final reps in, thinking about what it takes in the final laps to win a race, I think that's what keeps you strong. But, man, some good racing further back as we're watching the full field come through. There was a really good battle there, I want to say, probably from about 14th back with Cole Becker, with Christie, Michael Myers, Peter Vodanovich, and Thomas Nepfu as well.
It's going to be really interesting. A lot on the line here for a lot of these guys. You look at a guy like Thomas. Obviously, he probably wants to return to the Road to Indy. He wants a good finish. He won at Road America. I'm sure he's hungry to prove to everybody that that wasn't a one-off. You know, that's his first podium, first win, kind of a dream scenario. But guys like that just shows you how competitive this category truly is.
And you hear me, guys, if you've watched any of our racing throughout the season, I always harp on the fact that we have a good rookie crop every year, and it's right around Road America, that June, July time when the rookies really aren't rookies anymore. We still call them rookies, but they've all got 10 or so races already in the book, so they've got a lot of seat time. That's when the entire field kind of starts to shrink together because some of the drivers who may have been slower earlier in the season have found that pace. They've got their feet wet. They're really comfortable, and you're watching things tighten up. And we see a lot of that right now, especially with some of the younger drivers like a Jace Denmark, who is a rookie in this series, so-called rookie in this series now. Billy Fraser now running in 10th spot. Miles Rowe having a good run in the Force Indy number 99 as well in 12th.
Yeah, I talked to Miles earlier today.
Saw you down the paddock.
Great young man. You know, really, really well spoken. He's just super humble, really nice to talk to. I like his mentality. He's not trying to push anything. He's not trying to force it. I think he had some lessons early on the road to Indy, and he's recovered from them. He's going, okay, I understand now that this is a little different. I like his mentality, and I think he's gonna set himself up really nice here at the end of the year to head into the offseason in a good mental space.
I think that's a really good synopsis of Miles Rowe in the season. He was really in there almost elbows up trying to fight and show what he had. I got this opportunity to run with Force Indy. I got to deliver. You know, I want top 10s where, to be honest, first half of the season, anything in the top 15 would have been a good finish for him, right? Just take the result. And he had a couple of incidents as a result. Got into numerous wrecks throughout the early part of the season. Some not of his doing whatsoever. Some kind of got caught up and maybe forced the issue a little bit. I'd love to see him have a good run here through the final 5 races. Settle in. Get some good results. Roll the car back into the garage today and tomorrow after each race. That's the experience he needs to kind of springboard into 2022.
100%. We actually even got into that talk now that the racing's I see raindrops on that camera. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Indeed.
Raindrops on the camera. We see the storms coming in. Down in pit lane, it still looks pretty dry.
Yeah.
But that's going to spice this race up.
You think?
A little
bit. If we get some rain?
If I'm Kiko Porto, I'm going, why rain now?
True enough. Actually, looking down there, it looks like a majority of the teams, I'm trying to see who's got rains. Yeah, everybody's got rains ready to go. I actually don't know. I probably should have talked to Johnny Baker or Joel Miller, the race director, about what his plans would have been if rain were to come. Would we go yellow then red and come in and change tires?
Almost guaranteed. That's the standard on the Road to Indy that I've been a part of, which is if it starts raining and everybody started on slicks, they will red flag the race momentarily, get everybody in the pits, give them ample time to get those Cooper tire wets on, and then we'll go back to racing. But if it sprinkles, that's a different story. And obviously, Johnny Unser's going to be reluctant to red flag this race if it's not completely wet. So that makes it exciting for us as fans.
Yeah, let's make sure we don't say Johnny Unser. It's actually Joel Miller because he's either going to get the praise or he's going to get heckled. So
well, let's make sure Joel Miller. Now we've got a car coming down here. Trey Burke. Do you think he's going to Cooper tire wets?
No, it looks to me like there could be an issue here. The team looking at the back of the race car right now. I had talked to Trey after, I believe, qualifying, and he was having trouble with the gearbox. He was having some shift trouble and was having trouble going from second to third. So that could be continuing. I know they obviously would have tried to get that repaired, but you never know. You don't get a chance to get on the track to shake that down. You're doing it in the race. So again, Trey Burke coming in there on the number 63. He'll fall to the tail of the field, but did show really well earlier. Some good pace in testing.
We've got a nice little battle going on with Eli Navarro and Spike Kohlbecker. I saw they were side by side, what looked like into turn 7 and 8 there. That's interesting. You know, both those guys rookies, but one is not like the other. You've got one guy that's done probably 4 or 5 years. He's done some racing in Europe. He's done some racing over here.
Indeed.
And then you've got Eli Navarro, who, second full-time year in cars.
Yeah.
Sometimes that R next to your name isn't truly what is a rookie.
That's true. Eli Navarro coming out as the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series champion. So that's really, they're our official series. So if you're looking to get into racing, if you're a karter, you go to the Lucas Oil School, you do the school, you do some lapping days, jump into their winter series and maybe their entire Formula Car Series. There's actually running this weekend at Audubon Country Club, one of the Formula Car Series this weekend. But Eli was able to win that championship, the scholarship to move up here into USF 2000. But then you look at Spike Kohlbecker, who really has run a bunch of different series. He's run the Canadian Formula Ford, British Formula Ford, spent some time down in New Zealand at the Toyota Racing Series as well, was a race winner in the F4 Series. So he does have a lot of seat time, and hence it paid off early. We saw him at Road America on the podium. Not the best weekend for Spike right now, but again, currently in the 13th spot in points. He comes in right now with a couple of good finishes, as I said before. Kohlbecker currently 6th in the points. It's been pretty consistent for Spike. That's one of the things we've seen. One podium, but really consistently within that top 10.
And mature drives, too. You know, I felt like he's always put a foot right for most of the season, so that's good to see. An interesting note, Rob, as things kind of pan out here, I find it interesting when the teams that tested here are not necessarily the teams at the front in both Indy Pro 2000 and USF 2000. It just shows how tricky this little track is. It's incredibly tough to set up and incredibly tough to drive. You only get those 2 laps in qualifying.
In your chatter with the guys in the paddock, who did test here the most, you think, in Indy Pro 2000? I know that we said that I think Cape was here on 2 occasions to prep for this race. Who got some seat time here in Indy Pro?
Specifically, Exclusive Autosport came to test here. So what's, again, another interesting note, they opted not to test at Gateway. Obviously, they roll off the truck at Gateway.
Right.
Braden Eves, I think, was P1 in practice 1 for most of the session. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty interesting. And then reverse day, you come here, they've tested here. Obviously not the best qualifying for Indy Pro 2000 for Exclusive Autosport. So it's interesting how that kind of plays out, right? Some teams think in testing, I don't know what it is, but maybe they overthought it. I mean, this is one of those places where if you're not on new tires all the time, you can't get that qualifying balance perfect.
Isn't that really interesting? You literally could have 12 sets of tires, and literally for qualifying, the outright blinding speed, just hammer out quali sim after quali sim, because otherwise after that you're not learning anything about a new tire run, correct?
No.
Yeah, that's key.
It is key.
So we'll see what happens in the race. So far, so good for Christian Brooks, though. He's running pretty strongly here in 3rd for Exclusive Autosport. Josh Green pressuring him from behind in the number 33 for turn 3, and Michael D'Orlando in the championship fight will most certainly be a little nervous right now, considering where he's running here. P5 losing some valuable points to Kiko Porto, who is your leader out front. You had mentioned Exclusive Autosport in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Braden Eves qualifying in 5th, and an issue for Artem Petrov with, I want to say, damage to to his rear diffuser. Not able to get a good lap in there at the end, so he'll be coming from the tail of the field.
Rob, you should have seen as you were talking there. I believe it was Miles Rowe had a huge tank slapper through turn 1. I could read the Force Indy on the side of his car as he ate up the exit curb. So I'm sure he's counting his blessings leaving turn 2.
Well, you talk a little bit about the rookies as well. We know Miles Rowe, a raw rookie, hardly any car time at all for Miles. I want to say I think he did some Lucas Oil School races, I believe, and then coming in here with Force Indy. Then you talk a little bit about, we talked about Spike Kohlbecker, and Spike has been so consistent. Even though they're both rookies in the program, Spike has not made those mistakes. You know, he's been consistent. He's run strong. Hasn't, like I said, had not set the world on fire as of yet, but not surprising as a rookie in the program, but he's the guy that is not making the mistakes, which I think has been great for him.
Yeah. You know, you look at other rookies like Josh Pearson. Interesting. I don't know if you saw that announcement. What a huge announcement that is. Obviously headed off as a 16-year-old to go run Le Mans next year in 2022.
In the World Endurance Championship with United.
And everything that I read and all the insight, I made a few phone calls to kind of check around on that.
Okay.
And an old engineer of mine actually did a test with him.
I knew about the test, yeah.
And said, for 16 years old, that was pretty impressive.
Wow.
So it was merited. It's not like he just went over there and got a ride. He deserved that. So pretty interesting. You look here, he's running in his first year, 7th place right now. He's been in the mix. I mean, he's been in the
points.
mix. Yeah.
He was 4th in points.
And podiums.
Yep.
He's had.
Indeed.
Several
podiums this year.
A rookie, and for 16 years old, I think that deserves a
well,
little
second
limelight.
year in the series.
Is it
second year?
Okay.
Remember, he did run last year. But last year, he's such a raw rookie last year coming out of karting. He was just 14 years of age, right? 15 years, now 16 years of age. Here's a kid that's just, I think he's only 15, right? He's not 16 yet,
Well,
is
then
he?
maybe a 16-year-old heads to Le Mans.
Heads to Le Mans. I don't know if he's even 16 year. I think he might only be 15 right now. We'll get a confirmation about that. But to be honest, last year, a real raw rookie. This year, moving over with Pabst Racing, has put his head down and has the maturity, the increase for him from last year to this year. His understanding of the sport. That's what you do. That's why you run hard that first year. The amount he learned the first year, and it has matured over the offseason. It's going to be really interesting to see what he does with a combination program, because running with the World Endurance Championship and a Le Mans Also being told he's going to run a full Indy Pro 2000 championship program as long as the schedule doesn't conflict. So a couple different cars for Josh
I don't
Pearson.
even know how you'd step back in a USF 2000 car.
No, Indy Pro.
Or Indy Pro.
Indy Pro.
Even Indy Pro,
Indy
I
Pro.
don't know how you'd make that step back.
Well,
that is impressive.
It's going to do it. So here's your rundown here, folks. Kiko Porto is your leader right now. Yuven Sooner and Worthy runs second. Christian Brooks in third. Fourth, Josh Green. Fifth, Michael D'Orlando. Sixth, Jace Denmark. Seventh, Josh Pearson. Eighth, Nolan Siegel. Ninth, Christian Weir. And 10th is Prescott Campbell. Drivers working their way through now turn number 10, 11, and 12.
Well, I gave everybody a good stare with that rain on the camera there. I don't know if that camera's just blurry. Every time we go to it, it looks like it's raining over there.
I thought there might have been a little bit of precipitation as well, but no doubt nothing yet on pit lane at all. Drivers coming across, start, finish line. Big lead right now for Kiko Porto.
Yeah, Kiko's comfortable. We'll forget about him for a little bit. But we got a nice little battle brewing there for second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah, let's give it up for Christian Brooks. He's been able to get back up there again, and you can see some of the I was like, what just happened right there? But no, that was actually a little further back in the action. That was, I believe, the Jace Denmark, Josh Pearson. I'm like, where did the other Paps car come from? A little further back in the field there. There's Porto. There's the lead over Sooner and Worthy. Then we've got Christian Brooks, Josh Green, and Michael D'Orlando. Then the big gap there to the battle I was talking about, Jace Denmark and Josh Green.
If I'm Josh Green, I'm in an interesting little spot here.
All right.
Because I want to get third. I want to be on the box. I want to taste champagne. But I've got a guy behind me that's probably about ready to risk it all. D'Orlando needs to beat Kiko, needs to make something happen. I don't think he's thinking points right now. I'm thinking he's going, I need to be
Do you think
second.
about that when you're on the racetrack?
100%.
What's the mindset of the guy behind you?
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. You're like, this guy's going to send it on me.
I'll say that probably not a lot of guys go to that depth.
Yeah,
but I like to know who I'm competing against. I'll even go as far as going, okay, I know this guy has probably got more crash damage than me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's
for budget, right?
Yeah,
you got to know who you're racing. You know, does this guy care?
He's
to
not
crash?
going to worry about it.
Exactly.
Right.
What's on the line?
Yeah, and again, that's like any duel in the sky, right? When you're dogfighting, you got to know what the other person's mindset is, or their psychology, and I get that completely.
Now, I'll say the psychology behind it, and generally I always like to have it where if you show up, whatever color car you're in that season, you want somebody to see that color of that car and go, oh, it's Parker.
Yeah.
This ain't good. So there's a few guys in the paddock that have that reputation. It doesn't have to be a checkers or wreckers mentality. It just has to be this guy's a pain in the butt. I don't want to deal with him. He's going to stuff me.
He's never going to stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's going to make me pay.
Yeah.
And, you set that mentality practice one of St. Pete, usually the first race of the season. You want to set that mentality right off the bat.
And then if you force that guy into the mistake, the first thing he's thinking, even if he drops a wheel, he knows you're coming. And
100%.
if even that puts him into a defense mode that allows you to attack him on the other side, that's key, right?
Well, and it's that mentality of, when Kiko Porto takes a lead, you want everybody to take a sigh and go, oh, well, racing for second now.
That's it.
And he's got that momentum right now, and that's kind of really, I know we saw Yuven challenge a little bit, but look at the lead now.
This played out exactly as you had said. Yuven had to get the job done in the first 4 or 5 laps. Otherwise, he was going to burn those front tires off, which I have no doubt would be the comment we get from Yuven if we talked to him at the podium, if he indeed is able to hold on to the spot. Right now, it's kind of the same thing probably for Christian Brooks, right? He's got to make sure he doesn't burn those front tires off, although his tire's already pretty used up at this point here.
Well, and that's why I say Josh is in this really interesting scenario where he's in the mix for second, but he's got a guy behind him in the championship ready to risk it all. He can risk it all because he wants to be on the box. He wants a good result. So this group, I would say, is probably the most exciting part to this race. The only other comment I'll say that I like is those 2 teammate cars of the Paps Racing Group. They're in 7th and 8th, I believe.
Yeah.
That's got to be interesting for Augie. Anytime you see your 2 guys out there battling wheel to wheel, there's always a bit of a clench to know that if you're involved in an incident, you're just fixing 1 car, you're fixing 2.
And you're also thinking about the championship battle in terms of the team championship. The guys want to win that team championship. D-Force Racing leading the way coming in. Cape Motorsports second. Paps Racing in third. They're currently running in second, 7th, 6th, and 7th.
Now, Rob,
2nd, 7th, and 6th and 7th. That's pretty solid for points.
That is very solid. Now, describe to me this.
What?
Because I don't know it. I usually raced for an under 2-car team. And 2 cars is the only thing that scores towards
exactly.
the top 2 cars.
Indeed.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So for the fans at home, for the team championship, obviously you've got a team like Pabst with 4 cars. They're not going to get 4 cars worth of points.
Exactly. But you have 4 shots at it.
For sure.
That's
you got 4 bullets in the chamber.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So Right now, again, the potential. Oh, here goes Christian Brooks having a look to the inside. Now Christian he's putting a lot of pressure on Sooner Murthy. Did Uven work those tires a little much? You can see Josh Green right there as well. Let's stick with this battle. This is second, third, fourth, and fifth. Sooner Murthy, Brooks, Green, and D'Orlando. Michael D'Orlando, P5, watching the championship kind of slip away a little bit more away from his grasp. This would give Porto an even bigger lead in the title heading to race 2 and 3. Luckily for anybody in the championship fight, you get to press the reset button and we come back and qualify again tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow's qualifying session in the morning will set the grid. You need 2 good times. The first one sets the grid for race 2. Your second fastest time could be the time you use for race 3. It'll be either that time or your fastest lap in race number 2. So,
and with qualifying in the morning, almost guaranteed it's going to be better unless it rains.
There's the insight right there from Parker Thompson. Folks, again, my name is Rob Howden. Thank you so much for joining us here on Road to Indy TV. Our opening race of a triple header for USF 2000 here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. The drivers taking to this 2.25-mile, 12-turn racetrack. And again, just working our way later into the run here right now. 15 laps in, 5 laps remaining in this 20-lapper. And Kiko Porto, who started on the outside of the front row, everything going the way of the Brazilian right now.
Yeah, what's going to be really interesting, I think fitness at NJMP, we didn't cover this before, but I think this is, as a driver, this was the most physical track last year.
Really?
For Indy Pro 2000.
Seriously?
By far,
okay.
The most physical track. I think it caught a lot of guys off guard. I'm glad I was fit last year. Oh, Thomas Neveau going for a pass on the number 9 Jay Howard car. Looks like an easy inside maneuver. He's got that job done. But back to fitness levels, it'll be interesting to see how these USF 2000 guys are going to battle with how tough these cars are to drive.
And high heat, high humidity. A lot of drivers told me in the car yesterday sitting on the grid, it was really actually hard to take breaths. Here comes that next group. Now here's back to this second, third, fourth, fifth battle. And to update the pass that Parker picked up as they came by us in the front straightaway, that was Thomas Nepvu going to the inside of Peter Bogdanovich into turn number 1 for 16th position on the grid. But watching these battles coming back through the field here, going a little deeper into the group. There's the battle around Eli Navarro with Spike Kolbecker, Miles Rowe, Navarro, and Dylan Christie. A couple laps ago, we saw Christian Brooks show the wing to the inside.
I'm waiting to see an exclusive Autosport guy down there touch the radio button and tell Christian that there's 5 laps to go and he better get the job done.
It's go time?
It's go time. Come on, Christian. You got 5 laps left. Let's get, get one step higher on the box.
That's it. Christian Brooks actually, I think, would like to come back. He had a rougher run through, 17 points and then a DNF at Road America, 10, 13, and 15 the point totals at Mid-Ohio. Just not the results, not able to get onto the podium in any of those races. Christian Brooks would like to get back there. He was one of the top returning drivers. He, D'Orlando, and Josh Green from last year. We expected him to run for a championship, and he came out of the gate really strong. 2 good finishes, top 5s at Barber Motorsports Park. Won both races at St. Petersburg, but then had some issues at Indy. Didn't go so well at Road America either. And then Mid-Ohio, kind of a mid-round, 5th back to 10th, essentially. Being told that the number 34 of Dylan Christie is spun on the racetrack in turn 8, but he's back going again. But again, laps winding down. Once Kiko Porto gets back around Parker, just 2 laps will remain for the Brazilian, for D-Force Racing, who is leading the way. Kiko Porto, I'll tell you, when you can finish, not only win the championship, but finish on a high note, that's when you start raising the price of the resume, right? Because, Sam, like we saw with Christian Rasmussen last year, big start, had some issues, really big issues midway through the year, but finished strong, and people were talking about Christian Rasmussen during the offseason.
It's funny, Rob. You talk about what it takes to win a race on the road to Indy, and we talked about this, how important it is to win at the prior level before moving up. I look at a guy like Kiko Porto. I was there. I was his teammate,
yep.
Indy GP, where, he couldn't buy a win that weekend. He qualified on pole. He raced with Dudu Barrichello. Obviously, Dudu came out on top on those. But you look at him now, right? The Kiko of last year is so much more mature than the Kiko this year. Look at him dominate this race. There is no stumble. There is no, oh, my gosh, I'm in the lead. He's out there doing laps.
And that's, listen, I harp on this a lot. It's always a big talking point with me. The amount of maturation of these drivers from year to year. They don't really understand it. I tell it to them at the start of the season. I say, you're going to be so much different next year. I ask them next year. Then they say, Rob, you were so right. I'm not even close to the driver I was the year before. So much more focus, so much more understanding of car dynamics, how to work with the team itself. Coming out of karting, much different deal. So here comes Porto, as Parker said, really stepping things up. He's matured so much. White flag will fly here at start-finish for Kiko Porto to start off a triple header here at New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Do you hear that, Rob?
What is that big, huge gap of nothing?
No, the big, huge gap of nothing. I hear a hammer and a nail, and the coffin is closing up a little
Wow.
bit here. This is game time.
Did you spend some time to come up with that one? That was pretty solid.
Well, thank you. I try.
Still 4 races to go, but no doubt about it, if he wins here and with D'Orlando back in 5th, going to make it a lot tougher for Michael to fight his way back into a championship scrap when we get to Mid-Ohio.
I really want to focus on that battle 2nd to 4th here because it's now or never. White flag, you're either going to get the job done or you're not.
So there's that battle further back that he's talking about. Here's Kiko Porto coming now out of turn number 5 over through turn 6. Here's the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And look at this. Christian Brooks incredibly close here now on Yuvan Sundaramurthy. These 2 fast corners, hard to keep that front wing down, losing the air.
Hard.
It is, isn't it?
Well, you look at these guys, fans, it's not like they're not trying. Trust me. All 4 of those guys are doing everything they can to stay close. It's just that is how hard it is.
Final lap coming out of turn number 10 through 11A and 11B. He was the point leader coming in, started the race from the outside of the front row. Nothing could have gone better for the Brazilian for D-Force Racing, the winner of the opening round of the triple header at New Jersey, Kiko Porto, winning the first race of this triple header of the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Grand Prix. Yuvan Sundaramurthy holding off the race-long challenges of Christian Brooks. Josh Green, the same with Michael D'Orlando. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, finishing across the line within about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. Josh Pearson just able to get by his teammate Jace Denmark on the final circuit, moved Josh Pearson to 3rd, Pearson to 6th, Denmark to 7th, Nolan Siegel 8th, Billy Fraser scrapping his way up into 9th position. He had fallen down to 12th. Fraser 9th, Spike Kohlbecker capping off the top 10.
Man, D'Orlando, one more lap. He was literally side by side coming on the front straightaway. What could have been, right, Rob? It's this tale of Road to Indy Championships.
It is, and it's happened for the last 11 years. We've seen it before, starting all the way back with 2010 USF 2000 champion Sage Karam, who is in the paddock actually this weekend, working with Trey Burke. We've seen many great drivers come through USF 2000, and many of them have not been champions, folks. Not only one person can be the champion every year. This is looking a lot better for Kiko Porto, although still not done with 4 races to go. Long time, although over a full races points up on Michael D'Orlando. Yuvan Sundaramurthy's going to close up on D'Orlando as well, as will Christian Brooks. So I'll tell you, it could be. We should probably see Christian Brooks hop potentially over Josh Pearson, I think, into the 4th spot in points. We're going to tighten things up for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, that's for sure.
Yeah, and for Christian to taste that champagne again, that just gives you the extra motivation to finish off that season strong. You need those results here. You're coming off of a month-long break. He's ready to get back at it, and he's going to have 2 more races this weekend to go see what he can muster up.
So, folks, that wraps things up again here. We will be streaming live video of the trophy presentation. We'll get into that momentarily, but I'll give you another top 10 rundown before I head down to Tatis Victory Lane. Kiko Porto with the race win. Yuvan Sundaramurthy 2nd. Christian Brooks 3rd. That is your podium. Josh Green ends up in 4th. Michael D'Orlando 5th. 6th and 7th, the battle all race long. That group right there. Josh Pearson finishing in 6th spot. 7th, Jace Denmark. 8th is Nolan Siegel. 9th, Billy Fraser. And rounding out the top 10, Spike Kohlbecker. Prescott Campbell ends up 11th. Christian Weir in 12th. Miles Rowe in 13th. Eli Navarro 14th. And Dylan Christie, after a spin, able to continue to 15th. Thomas Naveau in 16th. Peter Vodanovich in 17th. Evan Stammer, Kent Vaccaro, and Bajoy Garg round up the top 20. Michael Myers finishes 21st. Nathan Bird 22nd. And Trey Burke in 23rd. Time to head down to Tatis Victory Lane. Stay with us, folks. More to come.
Pretty solid start there. A little bit of action in turn 1 and 2. Overall, though, just a solid race to get things underway. Drivers getting a chance to have some water, as you heard on the broadcast. Parker Thompson telling us one of the most physical racetracks you run all year long here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Again, give the drivers a chance to get a little bit of water in there first. But then we'll get things underway, folks. It's time to get started here with the podium here in Pattis Victory Lane. Driver coming home third spot today. Put your hands together for Christian Brooks. And to bring our third place trophy, Charlie Mazak is going to help us out. Thank you, Charlie. You can hop right up on the stage, up on there with them. Mazak's helping us out here, some of our guests throughout the weekend. Finishing in second place today, of course, qualifying tomorrow. We'll fire things all back up. 2 more races in this category, but second place today, good to see you back at the podium. Human Sundaramurthy in second for Pabst Racing. Drew Mazak's going to help us out with the trophy here. Human starting on pole, grabbing that second spot. But one position on the podium, of course, left for the driver, able to go around the outside at the start. A big victory for him with the final run here to the championship, folks. Finishing in the P1 position, they put your hands together with Kiko Porto! And to present him with his trophy, Peter Mazak will come on in here as well. I'll get a chance to have a quick chat with Kiko when we're all done with the photo here. Don't worry, we're doing that for sure. Peter, thank you very much. All right, come on down and talk to me here, Kiko. Kiko, hop down here and have a chat with me. Come on down here. You're too tall for me. Listen, congratulations. First off, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a fantastic birthday present you gave yourself. Let's talk about that opening lap, because obviously you starting on the off pole, it looked like to us you were going to fall back to potentially fourth, but you went for it on the outside, held the spot, and it worked.
Yeah, when I saw Christian side by side with me, I said, oh, I need to do something special right now, and I tried to brake super late. You even did a good job, you braked safely, but I did a really good job right now. I did a snap in the middle of the corner, but I can't fix it, so I'm very happy with this. The car perfect during all the race, but the tire degradation, this track is insane, but I'm very happy with this. I thank you for all hard work with the first racing, my family, and
congratulations.
Thank you.
There he is, folks. One more time, Kiko Porto, my winner today. And again, like you said, tremendous run around the outside for Kiko Porto. There we go. We got our photographer bowing things in. We need a shot with the trophies up in the air as well. Again, 2 more races tomorrow for the drivers here at USF 2000. We have an Indy Pro race still to come. Got some of our guests here from the Anderson companies coming in to get a photo up here as well. We got a bunch of guests here, as we said, part of the Anderson Companies program, coming in for a shot. We do this all the time. Come on for a group shot with the top 3 drivers here. Of course, champagne will fly here as well. These drivers having to wear these suits again, so there's no way that they're going to want to get these suits too dirty. Balance this thing out. Good way to get things underway here for this event, this Road to Indy Thunder event here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. A lot of great racing still to come. Thank you so much, guys. Very welcome. Good to have you here. So, folks, if we can stay a little bit outside here, we still got some photos to get taken. Let's leave the car there right now. Are we going to pull the car out? What do you want to do? All right. Car's going to go out. Drop those trophies and go out and folks. Champagne's there. They're not going to want to dirty these suits up, like I said, so they can do it like the pros do. Give it a spray, ladies and gentlemen. There you go, folks. Top 3 drivers in USF 2000. Spray into champagne. We're going to do it 5 more times here in the Road to Indy here this weekend. These drivers will be back tomorrow again. As I said, 2 more races in the USF 2000 program. Just 4 more left in the series. Kiko Porto extending his point lead with a big victory here today. A absolutely magnificent move around the outside of turn number 1, having fallen back to third. He took the lead. We talked about that tire degradation. It went away, but somehow he able to still keep the car on the racetrack and again come home with a big victory today. 2 more races still to come, folks, at USF 2000. Indy Pro Race 1 a little later on today.